Very good morning to my respected supervisor, Encik Albert Faisal, and my honorable panel, Dr. Mukifan. So my name is Chong Jing Qian. So I am currently taking the Bachelor of Technology Management, majoring in the high-tech technology marketing in UTEM. So today I will present about my final year project. So my title of my study is Evaluating Generation Z User Acceptance of Algorithm Marketing on TikTok and RedNote platform. So based on the Extend Technology Acceptance Model, which is the ETAM. So my study is dive deep into how the younger generation of digital native experience, evaluate, and ultimately decide whether to accept the powerful marketing algorithm running silently behind their screen. So let's begin for my presentation. So this is my table of contents. So to give you a simple roadmap of where we're going today, I have structured my presentation into a clear, highly logical flow that aligns perfectly with my thesis chapter. So first of all, I will begin with the basics, which is the introduction, background, and the problem statement. So from there, we will walk through my specific research objective and the question, followed by the boundaries of my scope. So then we will dive into the literature reviewing, comparing the TikTok and the RedNote. So exploring why traditional technology model feels short, and look at the extend time framework I construct to capture the privacy paradox. So finally, I will take you to my qualitative methodology, my firework data collection, and read out with my final conclusion and the recommendation. So let's turn to the introduction. So what is actually happening in the modern social retail? So actually we are living through a huge changing in how online shopping works. It used to be simple and passive tasks, so where you had to do all the work. So meaning that you just manually type the product you want to buy in the search bar and find the item. But for the modern social network now already totally changed already. This is because the smart algorithm quietly can track what we do in the background and push a personalized product right into our daily feeds. So in Malaysia, this trend has created a crowded digital market by two applications, which is the TikTok and RedNote. So this creates a big dilemma for our Generation Z consumers. So as true digital native, they love the amazing speed and the convenience of desk automatic shopping feeds. So but at the same time, they feel a deep worry about being the constantly tracked and watching by the company. So this quality looks at how they handle this tricky balance. Now I want to talk about the background of the study. So to give you some quick background context, Malaysia has fast-growing social commerce market, and Gen Z consumers really understand how the algorithm work, and they know exactly how the app operate behind the scene. So, but the TikTok and the RedNote have the different way to push the algorithm. So first of all, the TikTok relies heavily on the fast-paced interest, which is the interest graph algorithm. So it tracks your tiny action as they happen. So like watching a video on a lap and how fast you scroll and where your screen stay. So this made them to quickly push you into the buying thing on impulse to the TikTok shop. So for the RedNote, which is really known as Xiaohongshu, so that's a complete different approach. It has slower and community focused layout built around the idea of the product seeding. So its algorithm highlight the detailed test diaries, beautiful photograph, and honest user review. And instead of using the hard sales as RedNote turns to the shopping into an easy lifestyle exploration where the trust grows naturally. So now I want to talk about the problem statement. So this brings us directly to the main problem behind my study. So standard high-tech marketing assumes that if an app is smart and personalized, the user will automatically love it. But in reality, the young Malaysian consumer face the four big problem. So first of all is the privacy paradox. So Gen Z users say that they worry a lot about the data privacy, but they're using the daily action show that they easily to give away their private information just to keep the convenience of personalizing face. So it shows that accepting technology is not a simple choice. So second thing is too much algorithm noise. So seeing non-stop corporate ads on the fast-paced feed is causing the major algorithm fatigue for user. So third is company suffer from the trust dissonance. So marketers just don't understand that trust form in totally different way on an entertainment app like TikTok and compared to a search-focused network like RedNote. And finally, there is the big methodological gap. So most local study is realized too much on survey number and statistics, and this number can count the sales value, but they totally ignore how the user actually feel, the anxiety, discomfort, and the emotional trade-off behind the number. So this is the exact gap my qualitative project bridge. So let us talk about the research objective and the question. So let's look at the first page, which is focusing on the usability. So for the research objective one is to identify the specific factor that determine how the Malaysian Generation Z consumer perceive the usefulness and the ease of use of the algorithm marketing on TikTok and the red knot. So for the question is, what specific factors shape the perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use of algorithm marketing on TikTok and red knot platform from the perspective of Malaysia Generation Z? So for the next, we're focusing on the psychological extension. So research objective 2 is to explore how consumer trust and digital privacy concerns influence the acceptance of automatic algorithm targeting among the Generation Z user on the both platform. So the research question 2 is, how do the consumer trust and privacy concern play a role in the influencing Generation Z willingness to accept the targeted algorithm marketing on the both platform? So now we turn to the research objective 3 is to construct the qualitative behavior experience and acceptance of Generation Z consumer when interacting with TikTok's entertainment-driven feeds versus the red knot visual product seeding framework. So this is perfectly resolve the research question 3, which is the how to the Generation Z user qualitatively experience and construct the difference between the TikTok viral competition engine and the red knot visual product seeding system. So now I want to talk about the scope limitation is significant. So for our scope, my framework is focusing on the extend technology acceptance module, which is the ETAM, and I'm looking for the specifically at personalized marketing tools inside the TikTok and red knot, and the study is limited to 10 Gen Z consumers living here in Malaysia. And of course, our main limitation is the small size samples. And but remember that my goal is not to create a very big national status. It is just to simply to keep the deep and real human insight. Since algorithm change incredibly fast, this study captured a very valuable snapshot of how users accept the technology right now. So for the significance of this work is very clear. So theoretically, it's update all technology modules and for today world of smart AI. So practically, it give a lot of local marketer a clear roadmap and spend their ad money safely and ethically. It show the digital business is how to set a good personalization boundaries without pushing away their younger audience. So for now, for this slide, I want to talk about the literature review, which is a TikTok versus red knot. So when you look at the TikTok, the people mostly using the TikTok for relaxed and high energy entertainment. So its algorithm acts like an interest graph that track a quick action like video watch log and how many seconds your screen stay in a pause. And actually shopping and TikTok is very fast and impulse, but it carries a high risk of making the user feel tired of the algorithm. So for the red knot, on the other hand, it's all about the active searching and lifestyle mapping. So its algorithm works as an intent graph that tracks how deep you search and what post you save into the filter. And buying thing here is much slower process, where owners the review and from ordinary peers build depth and the long-term trust. And that's all from the literature review TikTok versus red knot. So for this slide, I want to talk about the theoretical foundation, which is the TAM to ETAM. So the Transitional Technology Acceptance Model, which is called TAM, so created by Fred Davis, said that the people accept the new technology based on two simple core beliefs, which is the perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. But there is the major gap in the model, still because the classic TAM model was made in the 1989 for simple and steady office software. So this because of that is completely ignore the deep worry and anxiety that users feel when smart algorithm track their behavior in the background. So that's why I'm using the ETAM, which is the Extend Technology Acceptance Module. So I keep the transitional usability parts, but I combine them to two very important external factors, which is the consumer trust and digital privacy concerns. So this allows us to see how privacy risk completely change a consumer decide to accept the app. So for this slide, I want to talk about the conception framework. So for the left side of this slide, we have our ETM assumption. So for the first is consumer trust, which is all about the credibility of automatic recommendation and organic community reviews. So for the second is privacy concerns, which cover the anxiety user feel over the persistent cookies and the inconsistent data tracking algorithm. So this external factor directly change our core DAM belief in the middle. So here we have the perceived usefulness, so which is how will the matching algorithm shorten product search time for Gen Z. So, and the second is perceived easy of use, which is the smooth, frictionless operation of the infinite vertical feeds and the organized grid. Please notice that easy of use directly drive to the influence. So finally, test internal belief come together to drive our adoption goals on the right. So this is our dependent variable, which is the Gen Z user acceptance. So which is the actual behavior intention to access the browser and buy from the test automatic platform feeds. So let us moving to the next slide. So for this slide, I want to talk about the research methodology. So for the first, my research design is use the qualitative dominant exploratory approach. So I choose an interpretivist paradigm because every user algorithm fit is totally driven. It based on their personal data profile. So there is no single objective security. So second, my target informants is my Malaysia Gen Z digital native who are highly active on both platforms, which is TikTok and Rednote. So for my sample size, I choose a focus group of 10 participants. So this is completely normal qualitative work because my goal is to get the deep, detailed human story rather than the boring statistics number. So for the data collection, I rely on the semi-structured interview. So this conversational style gives me the flexible to ask the open follow-up question whenever the participants share interesting insight about their tracking worries. And finally, for the data analysis, I use a systematic thematic analysis. So this means I went through the transcript line by line and coding the raw text to find a common pattern relate to our core ETM variable like usability, trust, privacy concern, and this is all for the research methodologies. For now, let us turn to the next slide. So for this, I want to talk about the data collection and the sampling. So for my sampling method, I use the purposive sampling to choose the 10 active Gen Z participants across the major student and the economic areas, especially in Johor, Malacca, and Kuala Lumpur. So for the interview process, I use a semi-structured interview guide built tightly around our ETM metrics. So we did test one by one session either in person or online through the Google Meet. So in every single word was recorded. So to ensure the validity of the data, I start interviewing the exact moment we hit the thematics, the saturation. So meaning that the answer becomes the highly consistent and no new point about the privacy parameters were coming out. So for the edit, the participation was completely volunteer. And the alpha will locate in the password encrypted cloud storage, and everything will be permanently deleted right after migration. And that's all from the data collection. So at the end, for the conclusion, the research serves as the complete foundation and blueprint for the entire research project. Across this first 3 chapters, it successfully established a real-world problem by looking at the privacy paradox and the algorithm that young consumer in Malaysia face daily. So it also updated all technology adoption modules by adding the consumer trust and privacy concerns to form the ETM framework. Finally, it made out a clear step-by-step qualitative roadmap for the coming up interview. So once again, I want to thank to my respected supervisor Encik Albert Faisal and my honorable banner Dr. Mukifan. So for your valuable time and the continuous patience. So that's all for me. Thank you.